We are diving deep today into one of the most successful predators ever. Not the biggest, maybe, or the fastest.
But maybe the smartest, in a way.
Right, because it mastered living alongside us.
Yeah.
For what, 10,000 years? This unbroken relationship?
It's incredible, really. It survived and thrived, not despite humans, but because of us.
And we're talking about the African wildcat.
Exactly. This is the ancestor, the blueprint for every single domestic cat out there. You know, the ones ruling the internet or currently demanding food.
Huh.
So our mission today is to really dig into this animal, understand its life as a solitary hunter, how tough that life was.
And then pinpoint how it engineered this truce with humans, this self-domestication.
It's fascinating. The African wildcat is to your tabby cat what the gray wolf is to, I don't know, your neighbor's chihuahua.
It's an amazing origin story, all starting, you said, about 10,000 years back.
Yeah, give or take, right around the Fertile Crescent, the Middle East. That's where this wild animal made a deal, essentially, with emerging human civilization.
Okay, let's profile this ancestor. We call it the African wildcat, but you mentioned its range is complicated.
Yeah, the name's a bit misleading. It's part of the Felis genus, small cats. And sure, it's all over Africa.
Not just Africa.
Not at all. It stretches right across the Middle East and deep into Asia. Over there, they're often called Asiatic cats.
So the lines are blurry.
Very blurry. Partly geography, but also because they hybridize. They mix with local cat populations, domestic or other wild cats. It makes drawing neat genetic lines almost impossible.
I sort of picture them looking like very lean, maybe slightly scruffy house cats. How big are they actually?
Generally a bit larger than your average domestic cat. Maybe think like a decent-sized Bengal cat. But their real advantage isn't size.
It's the camouflage, right?
Exactly. That coat, usually a tabby pattern, sort of mackerel stripes or spots, but it's perfectly tuned for hiding in dry places.
Deserts, grasslands, savannas, that sandy yellow-brown color.
It's incredibly effective. It melts into tall grass, even for us with our fancy trichromal vision seeing reds, greens, and blues.
We'd struggle to spot one if it was holding still.
Absolutely. And remember, most of their prey see fewer colors, so for them, the cat's practically invisible.
Incredible stealth, which fits, thinking about its relatives. They're south of the European and Scottish wildcats.
That's right. And those guys are different. Stockier build, maybe 50% larger than a house cat, built for colder, denser forests.
So the African wildcat is leaner, built for heat and open spaces.
And its closest relative, maybe surprisingly, is the Chinese mountain cat. Super rare, only lives way up on the Tibetan plateau. Quite isolated.
So we have this perfectly hidden, efficient hunter. And solitary, you mentioned. They don't form groups.
Not really, no. They're lone operators. The only time they really tolerate each other is, well, mating season.
Brief encounters only.
Pretty much. Survival depends on being discreet. Litters are small, too, usually around 3 kittens. They hunt by stalking, very quiet, very patient. Then a quick pounce.
Especially since a lot of their prey lives underground in burrows.
Right, so no noisy approaches allowed.
Okay, so if it's this specialized, solitary, stealthy hunter, how did it ever decide that teaming up with noisy, messy humans was a good strategy? This is the truce part.
Well, the timing was perfect. It happened right when humans were making a massive change.
Moving away from hunting and gathering.
Exactly. Settling down, farming, establishing reliable food sources, mainly grains. About 10,000 years ago.
Ah, so we started storing food in bulk. Grain silos, storage huts.
And what do massive stores of grain attract?
Rodents, mice, rats, birds too, probably, pests.
Tons of them. Suddenly, instead of scattered prey, there were these concentrated buffets right next to human settlements.
We basically rolled out the welcome mat and all-you-can-eat pest buffet.
That's the core of the self-domestication idea. Think about their natural diet. Rodents, rabbits, lizards, birds like francolins, even small antelope fawns sometimes.
High-calorie food.
Very. And now, that same food was available reliably in one place, near humans. Less energy spent hunting, more consistent rewards.
So the cats weren't really tamed by us, not at first. They just adjusted their hunting grounds, moved closer.
They essentially opted in. They chose us because we made hunting easier.
Did they get anything else out of the deal? Besides the food?
Oh, yeah. Safety was a big one. Think about the savannah. You've got eagles, like martial eagles, hunting from above.
And on the ground?
Jackals, pythons. Threats are everywhere. They're not big enough to be regular prey for lions, but plenty of other things hunt them.
So hanging around humans.
Offered some protection. Our presence probably deterred some of those natural predators. Plus, access to shelter, maybe reliable water sources near settlements.
It reduced their risks.
It did. It was a trade-off. Less independence, maybe, but more security and easier meals. They leveraged our new way of life.
A smart move, evolutionarily speaking.
Hugely successful. They essentially outsourced their pest control problem and gained security benefits.
Which leads straight to our modern house cats, doesn't it? All their weird little habits. Hiding in boxes, climbing curtains.
It's like echoes from the savannah. Evolutionary flashbacks.
So that box obsession.
Makes perfect sense if your ancestral homeland is wide open grassland with almost nowhere to hide. Any enclosed space is potential safety from a predator scanning from above.
Like those eagles you mentioned.
Exactly. So climbing high, getting into small spaces, it's not just cats being weird. It's ancient survival instinct kicking in. Find cover, get a high vantage point.
What about the internet's favorite cat mystery? The cucumber fear.
Huh. Yes, the cucumber thing. Well, the sources suggest that might also be an evolutionary echo.
Seriously? How?
Think about it. An unexpected, silent, green, cylindrical object appearing suddenly behind you.
Looks a bit like a snake.
Potentially. And snakes, especially pythons, were a real threat on the savannah, so that explosive jump. It could well be a deep-seated automatic aversion to snake-like shapes.
Wow. Pure instinct. That's amazing.
And then there's the whole cat versus dog thing.
Ah, yes, the eternal rivalry.
That didn't just start when we brought them both into our homes. That competition goes way, way back.
Yeah. How far back?
Over 1,000,000 years, probably. Wild canids, ancestors of dogs, wolves, jackals, were major competitors and threats to small wildcats across Africa and Eurasia.
So that tension, that suspicion between them, it's ancient history.
Deeply ingrained. Canids are still a primary threat to African wildcats today.
It's fascinating how much of the wild ancestor is still visible, if you know where to look. But then you contrast that perfectly camouflaged wildcat with, I don't know, a bright white Persian cat.
The difference is stark, isn't it? That wildcat coat is pure function, survival, invisibility.
Whereas the fancy colors and long fur of many modern breeds.
That's all relatively new. That's us. Selective breeding for looks, for aesthetics we find pleasing. Deep grays, pure whites, orange tabbies, long silky fur.
None of that would work out well in the savannah.
Not a chance. A fluffy white cat in tall yellow grass is basically a beacon saying, "Eat me," to every predator around.
So that amazing camouflage was one of the first things to go once they moved in with us.
It became less essential. They didn't need perfect invisibility when human settlements offered protection. Survival was outsourced, so appearance could diversify.
Which, sadly, brings us to the modern problem. The dark side of this close relationship.
The paradox, yeah. The very closeness that allowed them to thrive alongside us is now threatening the survival of the wild lineage.
How so?
It's that hybridization issue again. As human populations grow, we spread out, and we bring our domestic cats with us into areas where pure African wildcats still live.
And they interbreed
Right.
because they're still genetically compatible.
Exactly. They're technically the same species, Felis libica, so they can and do interbreed freely.
But why is that bad? Isn't mixing genes sometimes good?
Not in this case. The hybrid offspring. They're caught between two worlds. They often lack the finely tuned survival instincts of the pure wildcat.
Their camouflage might be off.
Yeah.
Their hunting skills not as sharp.
Precisely. They're less equipped for the harsh realities of wild survival. It dilutes the gene pool, erodes the specific adaptations that make the African wildcat so successful in its environment.
So the pure genetic lineage gets washed out.
It does. It's a serious threat. The pure African wildcat is becoming rarer because its genes are being swamped by domestic cat genes.
And we've seen this happen before, haven't we? There's a warning sign.
A very stark one. The Scottish wildcat. It's considered functionally extinct in the wild now. Genetically extinct.
Because of hybridization with domestic cats?
Almost entirely. There are so few genetically pure individuals left, if any, in their natural habitat. It's a devastating example of what happens when domestic and wild populations overlap too much.
And that's the path the African wildcat seems to be on.
It's the major fear. And it's not just genetics. Domestic cats also bring diseases.
Things the wild populations have no immunity to.
Right. Novel viruses, parasites. It puts extra pressure on already stressed wild populations.
So what's the solution? Can anything be done?
It's tough. Conservation efforts like sterilizing domestic and feral cats near wildcat habitats can help, but
It's expensive. Hard to implement on a large scale.
very. It takes a lot of resources, time, and political will, which often isn't there, especially for a small, elusive cat compared to, say, rhinos or elephants.
But the sources mentioned a kind of high-tech, almost sci-fi solution, using the domestic cat to save its ancestor.
It's an incredible bit of science and quite ironic. If wild populations get critically low, it turns out that domestic female cats can act as surrogate mothers.
You mean implanting a pure African wildcat embryo into a domestic cat?
Exactly. Take a fertilized egg from a pure wildcat, implant it into the uterus of a domestic female, and she can carry it to term.
Wow, that's possible because they're so closely related.
Yes. It's complex, delicate work, obviously, but it's been proven viable. It means the very creature causing the genetic dilution could potentially be the vessel to save the pure lineage.
A biological lifeboat, courtesy of the descendant.
It's a potential tool. A last resort, maybe, for the African wildcat and perhaps other endangered small cat species facing similar genetic threats.
What a strange twist in the tale. From wild hunter to willing cohabitant to endangered ancestor threatened by its own domesticated offspring.
It really encapsulates the complex, often unintended consequences of domestication and human expansion. That decision 10,000 years ago, driven by convenience and survival.
Now has this incredibly high cost for the wild version.
It's a powerful reminder of how interconnected these things are.
So the next time you see your cat squeezed into a tiny box or maybe leaping sideways at a dust bunny,
Remember where that comes from.
deep inside that fluffy pet is the ghost of a highly cautious, solitary hunter from the African savanna, hardwired for survival in a very different world. It really makes you think, doesn't it? What instincts, what deep evolutionary echoes are we carrying around in our modern lives, completely unaware? Something to ponder.